Well, what is up, everybody? Keith, aka Guy 231. It is Saturday morning, December 19th, and we have reached the final day of college football, a mixture of regular season and postseason with multiple championship games going on. You know, what a crazy end to a crazy season that we have. You know, the likes of Ole Miss and LSU playing a worthless game at the same time, you know, I guess not the same time, but the same day that Northwestern and Ohio State are playing the championships game, Florida and Alabama are playing the championship game. It's just a crazy day. But let's take advantage of what is, you know, our last big slate outside of some bowl slates coming up. So just a quick reminder, if you enjoy this content, everything we're doing at FSI, bottom right of the screen, please hit that subscribe button. We greatly appreciate your support and helping this free channel continue to grow. All right, let's jump into the picks. I was counting the amount of games, and it's not, you know, everything that DK put on, but we have 8 canceled games today. Hopefully we don't lose any more before lock. Make sure that you are keeping a tab on news, whether it's Twitter, like so many different resources out there. Just make sure you do something. So let's start at the quarterback position like normal. You know, at the top, I think Justin Fields does stand out today as the top quarterback, even maybe above normal, just because of the options out there. Obviously, he has an insane passing floor in that offense, and also provides rushing upside. Northwestern is a matchup that he should do fairly well in. You know, just really a question of, do you want to spend $9,800 on quarterback, or would you rather spend up at running back? I think that is the way that this slate is going to go, because the wide receiver value on this slate is absolutely crazy. I will be going over some of those, but you can, you know, we've been having, you know, I think I said it was last week or the week before, but I was getting more and more prone to paying up at wide receiver because a lot of the value was gone. And that flipped on its head this week where, you know, with the Ole Miss situation, with LSU, just so many wide receivers under sub 6K, and then with the Ole Miss guys under sub 4.5K. If you want to spend up for Justin Fields, you are going to have the salary. Matt Corral. So I can't play Corral over Fields without Moore and Yeboah in. I do just have like the slightest worry about what Ole Miss may look like. But, you know, GPP game stacks, sure. Trevor Lawrence is a tough matchup versus Notre Dame, but, you know, I feel like Trevor Lawrence is getting to the point he's matchup proof. 8,700 is fine too. Like, again, all these top guys per usual, they're fine if you have a salary. It just depends on your build. Rattler versus ISU, you know, probably a little bit better than fine just in that offense. Kellen Mond 7,600 I think is of interest just because Tennessee isn't that good. The guys I start getting pretty excited about are over down here at 7K. I think Brock Purdy has finally turned the corner at the end of the season. He was somebody I played a ton at the beginning to mixed results, but as we can see lately, he had 31, 21, 27, 21, 26. He's also rushing the ball, which, you know, is huge in college football to give us a little extra floor. This is a very good game environment versus Oklahoma. So I think 7,000 works. You know, obviously Rattler's only 8,100. So, you know, you're not eating 1,100 if you just have the choice, but depending on where your salary ends up, I do like Purdy. Max Johnson really looked great against my Gators. Unfortunately, 21 and 36, he was running the ball over the place. Ole Miss's defense has been Swiss cheese all season long. I think Max Johnson, you know, getting a stranglehold on the LSU quarterback job going into next year, 6,800 for a dual threat quarterback is really nice. Let me just take a look down here at the bottom. Starkel, I think a lot of these guys down here just kind of work. The guy I wanted to highlight, though, is Will Rogers. You know, the Mississippi State passing attack under Mike Leach is just always going to have insane volume. Look at the passing attempts, 51, 61, 52, and 46 in the last 4 weeks. You know, the weirdest thing with Mississippi State, because their lack of talent overall, it's just where the fantasy points are going. Like, in games of 46 and 51 passing attempts, he, you know, didn't reach double digits twice. So you don't have to go down there. It's just an option. Like, the slate has options over and over and over again. All right, let's go to running back. Ibrahim obviously gets amazing volume, but it's not an easy matchup versus Wisconsin. Much rather drop down, say $500 on Breece Hall, who, all season long has been matchup proof. I don't think he has any games of not double digits. Consistent 30 DKs all over the board, and now a plus matchup versus Oklahoma, where there's going to be points. So, when you hear there's going to be points and you have, potentially the best running back in the country, yes, that's up for debate, but Breece Hall definitely should be on the short list. I think it makes a lot of sense, especially if we have the salary. On the other side, Stevenson is fine too. I just much prefer the value that I get on for 600 more, I can get Breece Hall and not any sort of committee. I don't have to sweat out, Oklahoma rotating. So that's where I probably would go. But Stevenson, again, in a game stacking situation, I think is fine. Travis Etienne, I love here. It's not a great matchup. I get it. And honestly, his form has been terrible. But I think Travis Etienne is one of these rare talents in college football. I don't know. I just there's something about it. As I'm talking out loud, it doesn't actually make a ton of sense. So it's just, I think it's a price plus knowing his upside, knowing that in so many ways, I feel like they've just been kind of God, I can't think of the word, containing him or not really letting him loose. This is the game. This is the kitchen sink game just to let him loose. We did see versus Notre Dame last time. He only went 18 for 28, but had 8 catches. That was when Lawrence's backup was in. So I do think Lawrence is going to help Etienne, get loose a little bit more. I just really like it. It's probably a price thing, just knowing that he's a $9,000 player. I won't play Williams on the other side, though. While I'm not crazy about doing Clemson players versus Notre Dame, I'm definitely not set to play Notre Dame guys versus Clemson versus that defense. Ely works, especially LSU's defense is not good, especially if you think that Ole Miss might run the ball more. Spiller, fine. Ty Jordan was the next guy I wanted to highlight. He's been awesome for Utah in the last 2 games versus Colorado and Oregon State, 17 for 147 and 27 for 167. A matchup versus Washington State is potentially even better than those two. Expect him to be really popular at 7,000. All right, we're going to kind of skip through a few more here till I get to – I think the Mississippi State guys, Johnson and Marks, are always in play because they're going to bring you some rushing upside. But I do want to get down here to 2 cheap guys I want to bring up. The first one I went by, I think Tyler Batty versus Mississippi State in a game that, Mississippi State, because they throw the ball so much, they're going to, always kind of allow a little bit more offense. Even if all the scoring doesn't always show, you're going to have more plays. Tyler Batty, just kind of this change of pace back for Missouri. It's going to get you 5 to 8 carries and potentially, anywhere from 3 to 6 catches. So I think he's interesting from a GPP player. That's some of the things I like to see out of a GPP running back. Watch LSU's running back situation. Chris Curry looked really good in some spots versus the Gators. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it's Emory. Let me make sure. Yeah, so you have Emory, who's questionable. Let me see if they updated anything. Has practiced a little bit, but not much. Thanks, Coach O. But, if he were to miss, I think Curry, could be a really interesting play. Ran the ball a ton, like I said, 17 for 64. Probably got unlucky to not get a few of the goal line looks. I think he got 1 or 2, but then they did a bootleg and stuff like that. But 4,200 versus Ole Miss, I think, is really, really good. And the final guy is from Wisconsin. Let's see if I can get I'm trying to see if I can say his name right. Nakia Watson should be, their RB1. Groshek will come in a little bit too, but got 13 carries for 29 yards last week. Minnesota's not nearly as good defense as he played last week, so a good shot to bounce back here. All right, let's get to wide receiver. We do not have more on the slate. He is going to the NFL. So your top guys, and I'm not going to go into it because I just don't need to. They're all in good matchups, and they're all great plays. It all depends on your roster construction. But Shakir or Wilson, Chris Olive, I would probably skip over Harris versus Utah and, start talking about Gaither and Powell, Rogers. all these guys are phenomenal plays. You know, if I had to look out, you know, pick out of them, it would probably be these top 3 guys, Shakir, Wilson, and Olive. But you want to play any of them, they are fine. I want to kind of start talking about those sub 6K because I just think there's a ton in here to go with. First off, we have Jaden Wally, who has, you know, when you have 50 plus passing attempts, there are going to be receivers that get huge volume. And we see Wally has stepped up huge in the last 3 games, 8, 9, and 7, all over 100 yards, facing a just average Missouri team. So he's going to get a ton of work. Booty is now de facto #1 in LSU. Again, Ole Miss has been one of the worst defenses in all of college football. Booty now in the last 2 games without Marshall, 13 catches, over 219 yards. So I like Booty a lot. Even with the price increase, he's probably still a little too cheap. Hutchinson's fine too. The next guy I wanted to target, though, is where is my Utah guy? All right, I'm just going to click it just because I probably passed it. Covey for Utah has been fantastic too since he's been healthy. 9 for 76 last week, 4 for 54 the week before. A touchdown each game. He is, you know, the de facto #1 in Utah. So he is definitely a nice play too. Charlie Culver, I have a feeling will end up being popular because Charlie Culver often is, but you know, one of Purdy's favorite targets, especially in the red zone. So 4,700 for, you know, a stud tight end. Again, we always get discounts on tight ends, so he definitely is a good play. I just see Ferguson up there if you want to go like a low in Wisconsin player that works. Now we're getting to the Ole Miss guys, and I'm just going to like isolate them to make my life easier. All right, so with their top 2 guys out, Moore and Yeboah, we've got the 3, Drummond, Sanders, and Mingo. I believe, and please do more research, that the 2, in my opinion, from what I've seen, the 2 top targets are Mingo and Drummond. I think Mingo at 3,700 will end up being, you know, the more popular play. 6 for 90 2 weeks ago, 3 for 33, you know, already consistently getting in the fold. Look, 3,700 versus a terrible LSU offense. You know, anybody's guess who ends up becoming like the #1 or who is going to get Coral's looks the most. But hell, you could rotate these guys in and out. Mingo, Sanders, and Drummond. You could play all 3 if you don't want to put a running back in flex. Like, this is why, you know, if you want to spend up for Fields, you want to spend up for 2 running backs, you want to spend up for 2 stud quarterbacks, you can pretty much do anything you want with a couple of running back values and these wide receiver values that are sitting here because of the Ole Miss pricing. I can't even remember when. I thought Moore declared before last week, so I think DraftKings really, really screwed up by not giving any sort of price increase on these guys. There was one more value wide receiver I wanted to mention, and I can't remember, so apologies. But that, you know, is going to do it. So again, you make sure you dig into those Ole Miss wide receivers even a little bit more. If you're, you know, if it's making you struggle. If I knew the answer of which one for sure, I was, you know, is going to blow up, like this would be an easy game. But, you know, I think Drummond will be the one that I'm most likely to play in cash and potentially going to end up playing 2 of them anyway. So thank you guys so much for the support this entire season. I'm sure I will have probably like 1 or 2 more for bowl season. But for some reason, if we don't, just want to thank you all once again so much for watching throughout the year. It is greatly appreciated. Make sure you subscribe to the feed so you get all the other videos that myself and the team here at FSI are doing. So with that, good luck today, and I happily tell you, see ya!